Hello guys and welcome to my abilities tutorial. In this series I'm just going to teach you how to make the basic system for abilities and how to handle them correctly. So let's just start. So we have a new base plate, nothing in it. We're going to start off by going to the starter player and we're going to set up our explorer. So go into replicate storage, add a folder, call it remote events. Then modules. This is really important. Add models. Set of models, add another folder called animations. In this we're gonna store animations, and in here we're just gonna store the models for particles and stuff. Now let's start off with the real scripting. So I'm gonna go into the starter character player scripts, add a folder called core. So when we add this folder to our starter character and start our game, it's going to add it to our character right here. You can see. So now let's add a local script to the core. To input, call input, remove events. Let's create a remote event called ability. Okay, set the services. Replicated storage. Use game get service. Replicate storage. To the next user input service. Know this. And yeah, I think that's it. Next we're gonna get the folders. So let's get the models folder. No, we don't need modules folder. So replicate storage for child modules. So what for child is, it just yields until it finds this folder inside of modules. We use this because we're on the client. The client doesn't detect everything, unlike the server here where we can just throw a dot in modules. Let's continue. We'll call use lowercase remote events, remote folder, page storage for child, remote events. Now let's get a remote event. Ability remote. Remote folder, for child, ability. There we go. There's also one more thing you need to know about this. You can add remote folder find for child ability. This is what is this, is that this doesn't yield. It just looks for once. If it doesn't find it, then it errors. Basically dot, but with different meanings. Input. Now let's actually do our input. So input ban, since we got the remote event here, we can define its type as well. So we can use every single function or trigger for this. For example, for fire server, go. We began connect that to a function. Input game process. If game process, then we're gonna return it. You can either do this or just not have this at all. So for like this, so I'm just gonna do it like this. You can do anything you want. So if input key code So here comes the big problem for me. F10. So if you want to create more abilities, like for example, if you have one ability, Fireball, and it calls here when we press F, you need to create another input and to C to create another ability. For example, we're gonna do Blue Remote Fire Server Fireball. We have to do again Fire Server and do Ice Ball. So I don't want this. Instead, what we're going to do is in the replicate storage, we create a folder called modules. I'm gonna add a module there. This is going to handle our ability config. I'm gonna handle our abilities. So here do abilities, return abilities. Now we're gonna for loop inside. We're basically going to cache inside the abilities. Script, just get children, and we're gonna check if it's a module script. Then we're gonna set inside the abilities table our module.name as a required function. So we don't actually have the module to here, so we have to create it separately. So Fireball here and do Fireball. You're gonna set everything you want here, like damage, purple, the cooldown, then for example, the trigger key, the key code.f. You can do everything you want here because replicate storage you can access from server and the client, so that's why I'm putting it here. The only thing I want currently is the trigger key, which I'm going to use here. So in here, I'm going to do AbilityConfig require modules folder, wait for child, AbilityConfig. Now, what we can do is for loop inside this table that returns from the module. For loop inside here for key value in AbilityConfig 2, and we're gonna check if inputs if we pressed the value dot trigger key, and if we did, we're gonna print for now triggered ability and print which ability it is. So key is gonna print our name with ability bit. So yeah, let's go. Here we go. F triggered ability fireball. See, it works. Here we go. Fireball 22 times. So now that this works, so this will work for multiple abilities. So if you add another ability, for example, ice ball, ice ball changes to ice ball. But this name doesn't really matter because it returns a table, not this name. Trigger key and do this like C. So if we press C, it's gonna print. We removed the print. Yeah, sorry. Trigger key. Trigger key. Okay. Triggered ice ball, and if I press F again, trigger the firewall. So it works for a lot of abilities. You can add so much abilities here and work it in. So yep, now we're gonna delete this and we're going to delete the as well because I'm just going to make the firewall today. In the next episode I'm gonna add more. So now we create this remote event. So let's just fire it. Fire server. We're gonna pass in our key, which is the name of the ability, and we're going to pass in empty table, which we're going to use later on. Now, in server script service, let's create a new script called server manager. We're gonna get these, get this. Gonna get these two folders. Instead of doing with child, we're gonna do dot. So, modules dot remote events. Then gonna get this remote. So instead of void for child, do ability. Now on the server, we're gonna do ability remote on server event connected to function, and boom, we have a function, and we already call it here. So the variables I need to give this is the player. Player is automatic. You need to put this here. This won't work. Then the ability name, which is the key on the client here, and random data. Okay, now we're gonna get our character, player character, player dot character. If character, then we're gonna do nothing. So we're just gonna print mo called. Test this. It's always good to test before you move on. So F mo called, there we go. Works. So we have the player character. Now what I'm going to do for this to work on every single ability I create, I'm gonna create another folder, server, add the script inside here, create another folder inside called modules. And here add a module script, name it fireball. Same as this. Name it the same name so it works correctly. And here, instead of doing a table where we store functions, variables, and stuff, we just do return function, so it only returns a function instead of a table. For the variables, we're going to do character, and we're going to do the ability name. Okay, next, we're just gonna print now for now. Fireball, skill created, and do ability name here on the server. So we're gonna require it here. So if we're gonna check if there's a module first. So if I create a the mass config here and it isn't here, it's gonna check, and if it's not here, it's gonna skip it. So script of parent on modules, find for child, ability name. If we find it, then I'm gonna require it. ability. If there's not a module inside our script, I'm gonna warn module not found for ability name. Now make sure to call it because we're returning a function, character, and ability. Now if we test it and press F, still activated on the server. Nice guys. Now what we're going to do is add a cooldown. So in here we're going to do fireball cooldown goes 10 seconds, for example, 10 seconds. And on the server, to actually implement the cooldown, because if we spam right now, it's gonna spam unlimited times like that. Every time we press F, it's gonna spam. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is add a create a new folder called ability used. It's the new folder and ability used name equal to the ability name, and ability used dot parent will be our character. Parent inside character. And here, before we do all this, we're gonna check if the character finds her child the ability name inside. I'm gonna return. And now we're gonna get a new service. The breeze in get service, the breeze service. The breeze service, the add item ability used. So this destroys folder after. Yep. Now we need to get the ability config. So we're gonna do ability config was required. Modules folder, find for child. No, modules folder, ability config. Yeah, that's it. And here, we're gonna do ability config dot slash int ability name dot cool. Yeah. So now we can print here on cooldown. So it checks. See that works. F on cooldown right now. After 10 seconds, you use it again. Here we go. After 10 seconds, we can use the skill activated fireball. So we added our cooldown. Now, I think that's it for the first episode, or what should we add more? Yeah, I think that's it for the first episode, guys. So in the next episode, I'm gonna do the take damage function. So when I add the avatar, for example, character R6, Bulk, and when we touch this, so when we get parts inbound and we get this rig, we're gonna take damage on this. So humanoid, its health is 100, it's gonna take 90. So it's gonna do this. In the next video, I'm also going to add stuff here. This is where the technology will be, and this is where the particle will be. So see you guys in the next episode.